HR, and a, a lot of you can say management 4.2 initiatives entering. So these are my thoughts on that, and I hope it is of use to you, and I hope it triggers some thought process in your minds, which furthers the cause of HR 4.0 in Indian context. So once again, a good morning to the IBMR faculty, all the ladies and gentlemen present attending the session. A very warm welcome to all of you. See, during this week, we have been getting inputs on different subjects of management and its teachings. This is under the dual impact of Industry 4.0 initiative as well as the digital disruption which has been going on for the last decade or so, which is getting severe by the day. We have seen how these forces are unstoppable. It is practically impossible to reverse this digital flow, and as well as they are inevitable. I mean, once there is an improvement, technological improvement, it is bound to enter into our lives, it is bound to enter into our working lives, home lives, both. So the organizations have to now get their head down and get ready to run with their team in this race of technological improvements. And when an organization runs, it's their employees who run. It's the employees who make the organization run, go places, achieve results. So it's it is it is the employees who are the most valuable resource for a company. As a manufacturing person, that is what my view is. Why do I say that? Let me share my screen. And the screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, why do I say employees are important is because they are the first people who interact with everyone as a organization. When you go visit a company, the first person you probably meet is the security guard at the gate. And the interaction with security guard will tell you how your experience in the company will go. If the security guard is a untrained person who doesn't bother about visitors, it will not give you a good impression. Similarly, when a person goes to buy a product from a dealership, how the dealership person behaves, or when a banker goes and meets an accountant or any other. So employees are the most important, and as we can see, employees are the first point of contact of any organization with the external world, be it the customer or other stakeholders like vendors, suppliers, shareholders, etc. So it makes sense for organizations to take care of this valuable resource. And it is the HRM function which takes care of this employees. So let us see what is this HRM function about, and then we will see how it gets affected under the impact of management 4.0 and digitalization. I would also like to start by understanding how this HRM function has evolved, but first the definition of what human resources management is. So HRM is the function in the organization which is responsible for planning and taking care of all aspects related to human resources. Their work starts from hiring people and it continues till they leave. So we see this is the function that is responsible for taking care of all human related aspects of any organization. It is responsible for ensuring that the human capital of the organization remains competitive in today's highly competitive environment. If there are 4 companies working in a particular industry, today all of them have the access to the same technology. The market for all of them is same. Products are similar. What differentiates them? It is the human capital which differentiates. See, let's take the example of mobile telephony. We have BSNL, we have Airtel, we have Reliance, and we have the Vodafone idea. I'm sure all of you would have your own views about which is better. But if you see where the company where people are more committed, you tend to gravitate to that. That is the company which tends to gain market. And why do people commit more? Because the human capital is developed by those companies in so that it contributes to the well-being of the company. And this output and productivity of both blue collar and white collar employees is to be ensured for at the highest level. It is not that only blue collar people need to be taken care of. The white collar ones also need to be taken care of so that the productivity is good and they further to the cause of the company. Now let us see how this function probably evolved. I've tried to put my thoughts together and then see, in my view, whenever we are trying to see how something is going to go forward, it makes sense for us to see how it has evolved. The history will give us some ideas about the trend as to what we can expect in future. So the current human resources management as it is known today is the result of a very long process. In the 18th and 19th centuries, during the first industrial revolutions, a lot of manufacturing evolved in activities involved in various industries. See, before these industrial revolutions, managing was a one-man job. You didn't really have organizations. The only managing was in the political managing. So political managing we are staying away from. So industrial managing as such was not there because there were no groups of people working together. It will be only one artisan, two artisans, or things like that. So once the industrial revolution started, it allowed people to come together and they started the and then so consequently a need arose of managing labor employees for ensuring the output and to take charge of certain tasks and duties related to interaction of people with the organization. What are these interactions? Who all have come on which day? How many hours they have worked? What they need to be paid? Is there any disciplinary issue with them? So these things would have been there, which would have been the first managing things which have come in. Okay. After that, what happened? In the earliest, so in the early 20th century, the name of personal management was given to this function. Early 20th century is also the time when the second revolution started. Second revolution was going on. Mass production of cars had come. In 1913, Ford launched his assembly line operations. Before that, the big American industrialization had taken over the industrial revolution too. There were huge factories, rails, railroads, industrial products, etc., etc., etc. So, in the early 20th century, the name personal management was given to this function for managing the personnel of the company. In initial periods, the personal management role was focusing on the measurements of people's productivity and related behaviors that could impact the production, such as absenteeism, turnover, rewarding, hiring, or layoff. So it was simple. It was more of accounting. If you see absenteeism, turnover, rewarding, these are more of accounting activities. So maybe personal administration might have been a good word which we can use. Then things, once the number of people became more, things started to get interesting. So soon the workers gained a certain level of notoriety and started claiming for rights and started to organize themselves in representative entities. This is first labor union. See, it would be wrong to blame only the workers on this on the start of this unionizing, because initially the industries had no idea of a safety or a welfare. They were only about they would use humans the way they would use horses earlier, absolutely in an uncaring manner. So safety was not considered. There was no welfare. So people did not like it. And if an individual asks for something, he may be thrown out. But when they start asking collectively, it's a different ball game. So during 1911 to 1914, there was a great unrest in the industrial capital of the world, which was London at that time, in during early 20th century. It was a general strike which went on for 2 3 years, I believe, and it created a lot of hardships. People at that time were not very clear how to manage these things, but it led to confrontation, and things were. The unions got more confident and became powerful because of legal support they started receiving. A lot of lawyers with the leftist feelings got involved in these. And it is, I should add in this, our Indian unions also started becoming active around 1920s. There was a huge labor unrest in Bengal in the 1920s. At that time, Bengal was the only state in India which was industrialized, which had industry. So it would be wrong to say that Bengal started it, because it happened in Bengal only because it was the only industrial state at that time. So early unionizing started. They started exercising by bargaining power to take stands against management by resorting to strikes, etc., sit-ins, etc. As the personal management concept was no longer able to deal with this situation, a new era began with arrival of new challenges. What were these challenges? Parallelly, with increase in competition, a new product development, new technology, there was a need for skilled and qualified people in the area of human activities. See, this I'm talking about the period after Second World War, or let's say around our India's independence. A lot of industries were there, a lot of products were there, a lot of consumering things had started. Whenever people made money in one product, all types of industries would come in, so there would be competition. So was the need for qualified people in all areas of human activities also. This heralded the HR 2.0, as we can call it. Again, these numbers are in retrospection. So HRM 2.0 was mainstay during post-independence period. This was a more integrated approach that surpassed the simple administrative and yield management of employees. And this is important, allowed them to work in confidence. Now, the management wants workers to work with confidence and be committed to business objectives. The scope of HRM got expanded to recruitment. Now you see, apart from recruitment, training and development has come in. And compensation was always there. Performance management has come in. So people who are good, you want to keep them, you want to reward them well, you want to train them. People who are not so good, you want to train them. And this was the time. See, because a lot of companies were there, so you had to increase the level of your human capital. You had to train them, become better. Now the organizations had a formal HR department with people who were experts in HR discipline. These were people who had a formal education in HR. See, this Master of Social Welfare had started in some parts of India, and these people had a lot of grounding in HR activities, HR rules, HR motivation theories. So all that started coming in. With time, businesses became more globalized also. These are 70s types, 70s, 80s. The changes in business environment changed rapidly, demanding stronger, effective HR practices. See, competition started becoming important in the industry. It was important for companies to compete properly. Now, a demotivated workforce could never allow the organization to compete, because for competing, you have to be leaner and meaner. Leaner in the sense that people have to be more efficient. For more efficient, they have to be committed. For being more committed, they need to be motivated. So the HR practices were modeled around to that fact, to allow employees to become more committed and motivated. More pressure fell on HR professionals from multiple stakeholders like competitors and customers, apart from top management and workforce. Earlier, only top management used to demand. अभी कस्टमर भी बोल रहे हैं कि हमको इम्प्रूवमेंट चाहिए, वी नीड इम्प्रूवमेंट, वी नीड फोकस, वी नीड कॉस्ट कटिंग, competitors are forcing on cost cutting, etc. So these pressures came on, and this led to the emergence of a revamped discipline known as strategic HRM. It was strategic because it worked with the strategy. It worked with its own strategy. Instead of being an appendage to the general management, like normally you would have one clerk reporting to the general manager who would do the accounting and all that, or maybe one or two personal managers. But now you started needing people who could think about it, how to do this, training needed strategies, motivation needed strategies, and so on. Under strategic management, it was realized that human capital as an internal resource can help the firms to create value, which was rare and difficult to imitate. Whereas external factors like technology, natural resources, and economies of scale can be easily replicated. As I was mentioning to you, technology is common to all, natural resources are common to all, economies of scale can be replicated. You can build a big factory, no problems. But it is the people of our organization. If we take another example from India, in the two-wheeler segment, you have Hero, you have Honda, you have TVS, you have Suzuki, you have Bajaj, and so on. The products are more or less similar. I mean, it will be difficult for anyone to technically find differences between them. But you like a particular company because the people of that company you feel have create a more value out of it. It could be because of the appearance of the vehicle. It could be because when you go to the dealership, the dealer treats you so well that you like it. So these are simple things, and it is the people who make this difference. So under strategic management, it was realized that human capital uh, should become a weapon in the hands of the industry. To make processes flow and smoother, the introduction of technology in the organization was important. Technology started coming in into HR practices. Many processes were not supported by technology. See, this was around 70s, 80s. Before that, the word auto market was dominated by Americans. 70s, 80s, the Japanese started working with their people on uh, efficiencies, on improvements. There was a movement of TQM, total quality management. If some of you are HR practitioners, you would know what the TQM program was, which started in Japan. And it changed the way the companies were able to become much more competitive. And today, the largest car maker in the world is Toyota, which is a Japanese company. So this became HRM3. EHRM, the rapid proliferation of computers during these decades boosted the implementation and application of electronic human resources management. Computers started coming in, your salary went on that, your leaves and gate passes and things like that started going on that. This was in addition to the HRM3. And then you had the internet. Internet has radically changed our social and economic lives, and has had a profound effect on the way organizations are managed. HR processes and procedures have been supported by everything from complicated file folder systems for automation, going from multiple systems and databases to a single version of the whole system. See, earlier you would have a separate register for attendance, a separate register for salary, a separate register for gate entry, PF, all sorts of things. Now, with linked databases, it was possible for HR to reduce the number of people engaged in this, have a common database, work with that, and simplify it. All that came in. So, HR has progressed with frequent innovations. Human resource information system has come in, human resource electronic. These things are coming in. Other items of strategic HR include systems for e-recruitment. Now companies are slowly going into e-recruitment, online shortlisting of applications, developing training strategies. We'll see them in detail. All these aspects, we'll see them in detail. Psychometric training, payroll systems. I mean, these are the new things which are coming in now, which are forcing us to go to HR 4.0. So we see the way business and industry has changed and evolved over the last few centuries has perforce changed the nature of all supporting functions. And HRM is not excluded. It is very much included into the whole thing. Now, with the fourth industrial revolution sweeping across the businesses and industry environment, it has necessitated a relook at the possible shape of this HRM function and changes. These changes, which have been creeping us on us for the last so many years in bits and pieces, is what we are calling as the fourth industrial revolutions, and it has necessitated relook at this shape of function. There are some changes which we'll see in detail. Now let us refresh our knowledge of the journey from first industrial revolution to the fourth one. First industrial revolution was introduction of steam power. This was sometime in 17th century, 17th, 18th century. So the human power went out and steam power came in. It powered the machines, increased the speeds, brought in transportation, and so on. It allowed people to commute for working. Earlier, people could only work in their own villages. This allowed them to go out 20, 30 kilometers, work, and then come back in the evenings. Then there was the Industrial Revolution 2, which was the era of mass production, assembly lines, large productions, larger factories, more number of employees, followed by the computers entering into the shop floor with CNC machines. Instead of computers, let me say electronics entering the shop factory floors for controlling the machines, controlling how they work, and so on. And then the Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is the connectivity of things. And just a recap for people who are attending this session and have not attended the earlier session. Industry 4.0 is about industrial internet of things, where you connect machines together. You connect machines together through wire or by Wi-Fi so that they talk to each other and one data can be transmitted from one to the other. So industrial internet of things is there. Artificial intelligence is the capability of software to process very large amounts of complex data. If you have 1000 employees in a company and you are monitoring their output on a 2 hourly basis, you have 4,000 bits of data per shift. 3 shifts, it is 12,000 bits of data per day. It is not possible for a human to go through the registers of recording and do it. If you do the same thing on computers, it will tell you that out of 4,000, so many percentage are working with 70% efficiency, so many percentage are working with 50% efficiency, so many percentage are working with 20% efficiency. So you get the names of people who are working with 20% efficiency, you can do something about it. Next is connectivity through LAN or through cloud. When I say LAN is, we all understand, you connect two machines together by a wire, they talk to each other. Cloud is that when you connect all machines in your plant, whether by wired or by Wi-Fi, to a remote server, which allows data to be processed in real-time basis. So all the computers in a plant get connected to one single server, which is known as the cloud, and they can all talk to each other. Data can be transmitted from one to the next. That is the capability. And lastly, big data analytics. Big data analytics is a subset of artificial intelligence. As I was mentioning, if you have 12,000 bits of data about efficiency per day, this 12,000 bits is only for efficiency of workers working in your plant. There will be n number of other things. You would have, let us say, 500 different electrical points and machines in your plant. You may be having 10 electrical meters in the plant, which are recording power consumptions of different areas. You may be having earth pits. I mean, there is a whole number of things which can be, through Internet of Things, they can be connected, data captured from those, and it can be analyzed to take out meaningful inferences. That is what Industry 4.0 is all about. It allows you to connect things together, which is this. It allows computers and monitoring to be connected together, which is this. And it allows the data which is generated to be connected, which is data analytics and artificial intelligence. Analytics is just processing of data. Artificial intelligence, if you give it logical parameters, it will tell you that your data is coming like this. These are the possible inferences. This is what Industry 4.0 is about. And we will like to see how this has helped in the changing face of the HR function. Before we go to HR function, see, HR is a reflection of society in the real world, and society is a reflection of how things are happening. So let's just have a small quick glance over it. At the time of Industrial Revolution 1, they were primarily rural societies. Before that, there were only artisans, villages, no one moving out, or no urban centers. So they were rural societies, extremely limited potential. Industrial Revolution 1 started bringing in the limited employee potentials. People started getting organized. Industrial Revolution 2 brought large employments, huge urban centers came up. So the urbanization started. Industrial Revolution 3 brought in the urban middle class. This urban middle class was not available earlier. Earlier, either you had rich people or you had poor people. Rich people were the ones uh, who had huge land holdings and who had some state and encouragement, and balanced people were all poor. But Industrial Revolution 3 and 2 together brought in large number of employees, a huge urban class, and the consumerism starts. Another important thing is, by the time Industrial Revolution 3 came in, the employees had started becoming aware, they were educated. See, Industrial Revolution 2 employers would have been largely peasants who would work in the non-crop months. So they would not be demanding, whatever they get, they're happy with it. But Industrial Revolution 3 employees were very demanding, they were educated. They started. Industrial Revolution flows 4 has made global citizens, global connectivity, and the demanding employees have now become empowered employees, empowered and aware. Every almost huge number of Indians today have a smartphone, and they regularly get updates from their social networks on what is happening around them, what is happening in the country. So the awareness level of employees today about general environment and rules and regulation things is tremendously gone up. Okay. these are some of my thoughts. As we scan the horizon today, apart from technological changes, many disruptions are also affecting the way HRM will function. What are these disruptions? We are in an age where hyper and anti globalization exist side by side. Hyper globalization, because I say because the world is connecting together like never before. You can get anything made from anywhere. Anti globalization, I say because Prime Minister Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat. American presidents say make America great again. China says we will buy only from China. These is anti-globalist. So both these aspects are existing side by side, which would have impact on the industry in their respective countries. There are international trade wars which portend to change the way world does business. Again, earlier everything used to be made in Europe and America, and people would import from countries would be importing from there. Now Europe and America is importing from China. Now China has become the bad boy. So they want to go to Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Laos, India also. India is also trying to pitch in. And global climate change. Climate change I'm talking about because climate change affects the coastal areas. We have a lot of industry in India which is in coastal areas. Mumbai, Chennai, these are two very important areas. So these will affect, I mean, these are scenarios which we need to see what may happen. And they may affect the society and the employability and the employees and everything. On top of that, this last 1 year coronavirus pandemic and its impact on health and economy has become a major concern. Some of its impact on the way of working may be lasting. We'll see what these are. All of this illustrates the increasing volatility of the times we are living in. See, at the time of second industrial revolution, things are very simple. I mean, the big factory, you bring people, you take care of them, and that's the end of it. They are not aware. Word is not changing. Today, word is changing on a daily basis. Every day, some world leader would come out with new resolutions and talk about the situation. In this regard, having a debate about the impact that Industry 4.0 will have on jobs, skills, and wages becomes difficult due to uncertainty and complexity. These three things are key for HR: job, skill, and wages. So there is no doubt the impact of Industry 4.0 is going to be massive. But law organization and SMEs will adopt new technologies in the near future that will completely reconfigure the way we work. Now, recent technological disruptions have affected the way HRM functions carries out such activities. As I was mentioning to you, over the last few years, we have seen some inkling of these changes coming in. It's not that these changes come on one particular day, they spread over a period of time. So some of them have started coming in. Let's see what these are. It is worth spending time in trying to see what these recent trends which have impacted HR. So the first important change is flexi and remote working. Flexi working is instead of starting all people at the same time, you allowed them to stagger their work schedules. Remote working, as we have all seen in the pandemic, you can work from home, office, or wherever you want. So even before COVID-19 outbreak, many organizations were pivoting towards remote and flexible work. Especially in the IT sector, this was becoming common. Now, flexi time is a cheap and happy solution for organizations and employees. It gives employees some freedom to choose their work hours and improve work-life balance. The employer gains in attracting and retaining talent. Some people may retain in an organization because of this or join because of this. It is designed to offer employees some flexibility in the workplace by giving them option to start and finish work at times that suit their transport arrangement, family responsibilities, etc. To this has been added the new flexibility of location, which is enforced by Corona of work from home. So there's a large people, banks people, insurance people, lots of them are working from home, apart from IT and service industry, marketing people and all. Some of us have to go out and work, but a lot of people are also working from home. At the moment, however, this arrangement has been enforced for many. It is not by choice, it has been enforced. Work from home or a distant location is becoming more prevalent. It is becoming important that their supervisors learn how to handle this remote working in a professional manner. See, it is easy to tell some people to work from home. I know of a person who is saving about 1 lakh per month because they have given away the office which they have taken on hire for their employees. All employees from work from the home, the output productivity is same, and they are saving 1 lakh every month on the office, air conditioning, tea, coffee, etc. There are companies who are saying, okay, we are saving so much of money, we will give you 15 rupees tea allowance every month. Employees becomes more happy. But at the same time, supervisors need to learn how to handle this remote working in a professional manner. See, in an office environment, it is very simple. You come, sit for 8 hours, do some tinkering on the computers, and go away. How do the supervisor know the person is working from home? And how does the person working from home tell the supervisors, look, I've been working for 9 hours now. Please allow me to call it a day. So a lot of people got a taste of this during the lockdowns. Supervisors were coordinating from distant locations. Key is to be effective without overburdening the employees. Here, one important thing which HR has to instill into its managers is that earlier people came to do a job. They came to the plant because they had a job at the plant. When you are working from home, it is more a collection of tasks. That okay, today you have to do one, two, three, four things. You are doing it from a home. So the distinction between job and task is something which HR has to understand, as well as make the managers, the supervisors understand this. The next important point is shifting of focus from job descriptions to task descriptions, what I was talking about. Traditionally, HR role was finding people who would be suitable for specific jobs. However, now the focus is slowly coming to finding the right skill for assigned task. Earlier it was people and job. Now it is skill and task. So this is the important change which is coming in and which HR has to understand, make people. Just to give you one example from daily life, a generation bank officers were recruited who would do all types of job in a bank. See, we used to have probationary officers, so they will be sitting at the counter, they will work on the computer, they will do this, that, then. Nowadays, specific people are hired for specific jobs. Similarly, a lot of business positions too. Skill is becoming important rather than the title of the job. You want an interpreter, you want an analyst, you want a computer operator. So skill is becoming important rather than the title of the job. In future, as specialization in works will increase many folds, so would the task skill matching requirements go up. So in future, as things become more specific, as they become more technical, the task skill matching requirement would go up. And how do companies match this task to still skill? Suppose you have a task which is there for, let's say, some new task has come up. You go out and recruit people. Well, there is an option which is available nowadays. And this option is use of gig workers. Now, maybe some of you are hearing this word for the first time. What is gig workers? Let me just explain. Gig economy is a system in which organizations hire temporary workers for short-term commitment for doing a specific task. You are computerizing your store. You are computerizing your sales inventory. You want to do some specific activity in HR. So on a temporary basis, you hire some instead of your in-house staff, you rely on a specialized contractor remote workers, which is also called as the gig economy, to give you 25, 30 people, 100 people, whatever the number you ask, they come, do the work and go away. This saves the organizations from carrying the permanent cost of permanent staff, and instead it hires contract staff for a particular time and period. There are a lot of organizations which provide temporary staff for carrying out such activities. This concept is also becoming popular in India. You want market survey on your product in, let us say, 4 states. It's not an easy task. So you contact one of these firms, they will allot 30, 40 marketing persons to you. You uh, tell them what to do, they will do the job. 6 months, they are gone. So this is a new trend which is coming in.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but can I
Yeah,
ask a question?
sure.
Sir, do you have any data or any study findings
Yes.
after this work from home?
Yes.
Is there any reveal that yes, this can be a better permanent solution, or this is not really a good solution, work from home?
Sir,
Because
there
it
I
is it
would
is observed many persons since lockdown working from home. Now they are irritated at home. They are not satisfied working from home also. They feel now office is better.
see that. Let me answer it in three different parts. First, I am not an academic or a HR person, so I
Right,
would
sir.
not have access to study. But I have been in touch with a lot of people, a lot of my friends, colleagues,
Yes, a general observation.
general observation. See, one important difference between work from home and work from office is, in office people were going for a fixed time. In office people were going for a fixed time, and the supervisor would see the person in the office for 8 hours and be happy, and some tasks would get completed. This monitoring is one area which is becoming very prickly in these work from home situations. Supervisors continuously feels that the worker is, because the worker is or the employee is at home, he is at peace. See, at home also, in the office also, it is not that for 8 hours the person was continuously working non-stop. He would take breaks, he would do this, he would do that. There would be lunch break, there would be tea break and all that. Now, in the work from home situations, one, the tasks are coming at a faster rate. That is what feedback to me from a lot of my colleagues is. And number two, timings are not being properly adhered to by a lot of supervisors. So earlier people would be commuting to work. So let us say 8 hours of working and 2 hours of commuting. So 10 hours the person is out. To be fair to the person, you can ask him to work from home for 10 hours. But 10 hours of working, sitting on a chair, working, it's not easy. And see, there is a lot of ergonomics issues also involved. In office, the office furniture and office environment is much more ergonomically designed.
Right, right, sir.
So these are my thoughts on this.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I'll be happy if you interrupt. If you or anyone interrupts me, I'll be very happy to answer questions during as we go along.
Yes, even I request to all the participants if they
Yes,
have any questions,
at any stage.
they can ask it or they can write in chat box.
Yes, it'll make the whole discussion maybe better.
Right, sir. Right.
Okay, so we have seen things like gig economy, work from home, flexi and remote working. Uh, and as Dr. Mittal has very rightly said, a lot of people are irritated, they are not happy, they want to go back to the work. So, what I see some regulations coming out from government on this aspect in terms of number of hours, in terms of how to conduct and different ways. So this new technology may come with increased regulation pertaining to the use of technology, data, and employee rights. Dr. Saab, you have asked the question at a very right stage in the presentation.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Yeah. So, see, I have been in touch with some of my HR friends also, and we all feel that we would see regulations on this. We all feel we would see regulations on
Okay.
this, and technology and employee rights is part of HR. Data is something which is data privacy. See, many of these recent changes were currently looking very attractive, but already a sort of backlash is getting generated. Things like hours of engagement in work from home, availability of employees, private availability of employees, private data are being talked about. What sort of private data is available with the company? Your mobile number, your fingerprints for attendance verification, your Aadhaar number because PF is asking for it, your PAN number because PF is asking for it. So all these informations are available with the company, and it is important that rules are made so that this data is properly guarded and kept carefully. This data could be hugely misused by people. Even your Form 16s are there in companies or organizations. So organizations will have to become very careful about privacy of these data. And I expect rules to start coming in for this. In future, one may expect some sort of regulations on such matters, and companies and organizations, including colleges, which hire people, which do PF, which do give salaries, would be required to comply with it. So, what do all these different things mean for HR? As these regulations get introduced, updated, or changed, the HR will quickly need to assess their implications for workforce and will have to adopt and adjust to them in a timely manner. Then only they would HR would become successful. Which brings us to the aspect of transforming HR. Overall, it is clear that Industry 4.0 will bring unparalleled opportunities for HR, but it will also create major challenges and significant disruptions. Internally, HR will need to transform itself, building a strong network and community. Standalone HR may not be a good idea. Externally, the challenges will be to quickly adjust to regulatory changes and the new business environments which digitalization is forcing in. The inputs which we have seen so far seem to suggest that other areas of industry and business, HR function would also be majorly impacted by them. On the one hand, the technology is driving changes towards more freedom in terms of hiring, gig workers, work from home, flexi timings. While regulations are expected to bring in further controls, the expectation from employees and their welfare would be a totally third dimension of HR to act upon. Now, let us see some new conveniences which HR may get. One is the automatic recruitment tracker. What is this? Deploying software based solutions for tracking recruitment, especially for large companies. Let me explain what is this. Bringing in the human resource for a task or job is the main role of human resources. A delay in hiring can be harmful for the organization as the project may get delayed or some growth activity may get suffer. There are many subparts of this hiring process like screening, different levels of interviews, salary negotiation, offer letters, letters of interview, and onboarding. Traditionally, this activity these things are being done today also, but they are all done manually. In typically large organizations, This becomes a difficult task to keep track, leading to many changes. If there are some, let us say 30 people are to be recruited at any given point of time, keeping track of 30 into these six aspects, 180 aspects कि कौन सा काम किस दिन, which activity on which day completed, is not an easy task. So automated trackers would bring in better efficiency and improve on-time availability of resources. A lot of companies are already started deploying it. The next in recruitment is AI-based candidates and job screening. This can be deployed by HR for eliminating personal biases of the interviewer. What is this? Let me explain a bit. Job interviewing is a skill which is not commonly available. I think all the HR people out there would definitely agree with me that it is not easy for everyone to do a good interview. There is a whole lot of academic literature available on the unconscious biases which people have while interviewing. You will have a bias like he's from my region, he's educated like me, he's from my family background, he's from my city, he's from my state, he looks like me, he has a nice style. So these are biases which may have no bearing on the job profile. So it is important to, for companies, at least screening should be done in an unbiased manner. And screening is normally done by people down the line. It is not done by HR. HR will do screening only in the end. They will meet the person only for the negotiation. So while HR people will be generally trained on these biases, most of the screening gets done by functional managers, where biases may come due to various factors. Smooth recruiting software. Smart recruiting software can be deployed by HR for better screening without biases. There are lots of vendors, especially in the IT sector today, who give these services. The HR will give them a list of parameters and they would do a AI based interview, AI based screening. So out of, let's say, 1,000 candidates, AI is an automated process. You fix time slots for each, they all complete that. After that, you start meeting them and do it. Next important activity for which is likely to come in HR is automation of repetitive or HR administrative jobs. Chatbots are becoming common nowadays. HR must take it up. See, we are increasingly seeing prevalence of small automations in our daily life. Where are these? These are there in the bank, insurance companies, mobile companies, which have chatbots on WhatsApp. If you want to pay your bill, you go to the Idea chatbot. At least Idea is definitely offering it. HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, ICICI Insurance, they all offer chatbots on WhatsApp. So you, depending upon what you respond, you get a lot of useful information for which you need not call up people. So this is so the companies have saved on hiring manpower for answering these queries. So these are mobile chatbots which cater to a lot of standard needs of customers. There are many versions of ERP software already being used by organizations which have made some sort of routine HR activities like leaves, self-appraisal, machine-based. The person can go, and it is a slightly different to chatbots. A person sits down on a computer, fills in leaves, fills out a form, and that's it. One can expect this momentum to only go forward. Maybe from mobile, a person is able to fill in a leave application and boss will approve it. There is a during COVID, there was a scare that you should not be touching papers. So one automation which came in is that anyone who wanted a approval, scanned the approval, sent it to the next person in hierarchy. He will digitally sign it, send it to the next person in digital hierarchy, and send it to the top person for final approval. This automation was accepted by a lot of companies, and I think this is something which is likely to stay with them. Industry for supplying tech. This is a sort of indication which I want to give to you. See, I've been talking about technical support, AI, software, etc. Is it really happening? What is the proof that this is happening? This is the proof. There is a huge ecosystem worldwide which is helping HR function to mount the technology challenge. To appreciate the popularity of this technology challenge, there are almost 1,000 suppliers worldwide today who are providing softwares for HR. Now, on a worldwide basis, 1,000 may look like a small number, but when you consider that they would have their branches and offices in so many places, it's an indication that so many companies are investing in providing tech support to HR. So this is something which is not momentary. This is something which is going to stay. And HR should better learn this and then move ahead with this. Over 1,000 vendors worldwide who provide tools, HR technology, for HR technology, incorporating AI, data analytics, and other algorithm-based technology solutions. These solutions have to be configured for each company by the respective HR managers after proper training. Yeah, these are not plug and play, but they have to be taught. So it is good if HR people learn about these and try to implement wherever the company supports it. Okay, so these are some of the new things which are coming in, which I've tried to say. Next, I would like to show you a quote by Dr. Shri Narendra Modi. We need to give importance to skill development because this will end the unemployment. Why I have brought this quote here? This is the area which has been defined as a priority by the government of India. They have a separate secretariat dedicated to the skill development mission in India. Hence, we can appreciate the importance of this aspect. See, as I had mentioned some time back, companies would be matching skills to tasks rather than people to jobs. So, skill employment is highly beneficial. Also, as we move along, we will also see why this skill development is necessary. Focus on quick adaptability and reskill may become critical. Why? As industry and markets get buffeted by frequent disruptions, HR would find itself with the task of making employees reusable. This reusable is a critical word. We must understand what this reusable means. Quick development of people's talent would become crucial. As something gets automated, uh, people may be taken away, humans may be taken away from that job. It may become automated. Like if banks have automated chatbots in their offices, what have those people done? They would have been retrained and put on something else. I will like to give you one example. We had a lot of food delivery companies which have started coming in. You order on them, they will pick from a restaurant and supply you. A lot of these food delivery companies are backward integrated into base kitchens now. So earlier they would only the employer profile would only be that person A has ordered, so you pick up from restaurant B and deliver it to A. Once they've added a base kitchen, you need people who can cook also. You need people who can procure material also. So some of the old people may have been trained, some of the new people would have been recruited. So adaptability, reskilling has become an important aspect for HR. A lot of employees would have, similarly, when we use software based on chatbot instead of HR for HR solutions, it may become necessary for some employees freed from these repetitive jobs to be retrained and reskilled for other suitable jobs. One ease which HR has today is that they have much more tools available at their hand to train and reskill these people. What are these tools? Digital learning tools. Earlier, the only way you could train people is you make them sit in classrooms and then You have to request their bosses, please free this person for today. You bring him to a classroom, you make him sit, and then teach him. However, online tools have been around for some times, and there is acceptance also coming in for these. However, now these need to be deployed on full-fledged basis, digital tools on a large scale. Historically, learning has been handed down to student from a teacher by sitting in front of him, by being in a classroom. Later, with the advent of books and periodicals, self-learning came about. You could buy a book, you could buy a manual and learn something. However, recently with the advent of digital technology, the possibility of learning on one's own has become easier. This not only allows students to learn at their own pace, but also allows them to practice online, maybe with a mobile or a computer. Further, the advent of training modules, availability on mobile phones, the whole process has become much more accessible for the students. This is expected to give a big fillip to the digital learning process, which brings us to a digital learning teacher. What is a digital learning teacher? He is a distant teacher or mentor. The mentee takes lessons independently, while the mentor gives his inputs at a separate time and location. The student or the mentee has gone through the lesson. Maybe there is an exercise attached to it. He has done the exercise, uploaded it. At his own convenience, the mentor will go through it, see what it's all about, and give feedback. This is a huge benefit, and the whole thing can be done on a mobile. This is something which was unthinkable a couple of years back. Similarly, mentees access feedback from their mentors on their own schedule and make progress of different rates. If there are four mentees, they all need not go together. In a classroom, it would be one size fits all, but now they can do it differently. So this is taking the online training one step further, where apart from the training material, we also have a mentor who is continuously guiding. This is the more personal guidance, yet both mentor and mentee need not be physically located together, and they need not be working at the same time. They could be working at different time schedules. Also, the availability of such content on smartphones will further propagate this concept. The next logical step in this direction is to upgrade the level of technology content. From focusing on a mentor, we upgraded to the, so we enter into the exciting areas of augmented reality and virtual reality. See, these things are not science fiction anymore. I will share with you why I'm saying that. These will enable organizations to deliver training using simulations to make employees more effective. Augmented reality and virtual reality. Augmented reality methods they will greatly improve the quality of training. Augmented reality methods allow instructors to teach their students using digital methods where interaction is possible for the student with the equipment being taught. This greatly increases the quality of learning, unlike reading. If you can, I think many of you might have played an online car racing game. See, it gives you some idea of how to negotiate the car traffic. If you have not played, I would suggest find out a kid who has this and try it at home. This greatly increases the quality of learning, unlike reading a book. Similarly, virtual reality based training allows students to experiences which are not possible in normal learning. Nowadays, when you go for a driving test, they ask you to take a simulator test at some places. This greatly enhances the quality of learning and imbibing. The whole industry of simulation works on giving such an experience to students to make them learn and become proficient. We have been having aircraft simulators for quite some time now, And these have quite well justified their utility by training lots of pilots in the last few decades. And our own driving tests, driving schools are simulators now. As this and previous slides have focused on training and skilling, it would become a priority area for the HR functions. What this means for HR is they will have to do investment in training now. It goes without saying that devoting resources like money, time, and technology towards reskilling and upskilling of employees would become a paramount importance for HRM. There is no choice, but they have to invest. They have to learn these tools and they have to invest. Learning at the time of when HR is being taught, people have to be taught these. Investment when the HR executives are working, they have to demand this. This would be required to prepare them for new tasks, roles, and jobs. HR may need to deliver trainings using new technologies, virtual reality, augmented reality, AI, etc., to impart new cognitive and technical skills such as complex problem solving, analytical thinking, emotional intelligence, innovation, systems analysis, etc. Sometimes even installation of equipment comes on a VR platform. So people must learn this. This basically means that organizations will have to earmark more resources for delivering this skilling and other trainings to more employees through HRM function to show that they care. So next we talk about a traditional HR aspect. A organization is all about its employees who are its greatest assets. Caring for them is all about developing the organization. Now, as I was mentioning at the beginning of my presentation, these are very troubled times. There are lots of different pulls and pushes, import restrictions, export restrictions, manufacturing going from A to B, jobs being taken away, reskilling being needed. So there is a lot of confusion and anxiety. So what does HR has to do in this? Win the trust of people. It is expected that automation and digitalization will have a big impact on their jobs. HRM will need to counsel them to change their perceptions and shift attitudes of employees about this impact through proper communication to them to bring them on board. The more open employees will be to this change, the easier it will be for HR to implement it. If you think you can just push people today कि नहीं ऐसा ही होना है, this is not going to happen. In today's scenario, people are aware, they are empowered, they are educated, they were not going to take it lightly. The digital disruption which is upon us is predicted to cause large scale changes in the jobs in coming future. In the absence of proper communication and counseling, it is likely to severely demotivate the employees. Hence, it would be incumbent upon HRM function to systematically communicate the organizational objectives. See, when you are implementing a change, the organization would have thought about it, what is to be done. So please communicate these objectively and clearly and ensure that the workforce remains motivated and charged. If you have decided to throw out everyone, please do it in a manner so that it doesn't affect your balance work. Or if you want to reskill, please do that. But be clear about communication. This will have to show employees that they care and are flexible to change. This flexibility of changing is going to be another key for HR. And I define it in a slightly different manner. I define it as a become a contingent champion. This contingent is not a team which is going to go and play. This contingency has come out from contingencies. Let's see what this is. This means that HR policies and practices will need to be more agile, adaptable, and flexible to prepare for any contingencies that employees in their organizations may encounter both internally and externally. For example, during the COVID-19 scenario, There was a 180 degrees change in the practices required by the organizations. When the lockdown happened in March 2020, there was a sudden and total drop in work and output. Sab kuch band, people went away, just lockdown. 6 months down the line, around Diwali, there was a sudden jump in output in the production. You all must have seen the GDP numbers, the economy numbers, and all that. These sudden changes demand that HRM has to be agile and adaptable to meet such contingencies. See, it's not out of vacuum that companies can throw out people and bring them back. You need a huge amount of HR activity in this to be able to do this. The HRM is to be agile and adaptable to meet such contingencies. Another example, if you take, is if you compare the HRM scenarios in the last few decades, earlier all processes were manual. Registers, we had registers for everything. Then they shifted to Oracle based. A lot of companies still based. Oracle is a simple database of 2 decades back, but a lot of companies still do it. Some companies have transitioned to SAP. SAP gives huge flexibility and huge technology in all these activities. And many companies are now using virtual reality platforms also. You may be surprised what these virtual reality platforms is, which you are using. We are using a virtual reality platform for conducting this training session today. It's a virtual reality. I can see you, you can see me, you can see me talking. If you just read or hear me, you would not see the nuances, or you would not be able to face read me as to what I'm saying. But this virtual reality allows it. So a lot of companies have adopted it for video conferencing, online trainings, interviews, etc. So such HR teams who are flexible and adaptable, we call them contingent champions. They become contingent champions. So as first win the trust of people, then become contingent champions. Next important activity for them, HR, is deliver continuous support. What this means? HR role in providing continuous ongoing support, psychological and mental well-being, and a positive employee experience will be critical in managing the disruptions that Industry 4.0 will bring. HRM is to become the business partner to the organization. It must run parallel to the organization structure that they have to support organizations in generating revenues. HR must become a partner in generating revenues. Change from a passive to an active role. Learn how to contribute to business instead of just being a sidekick to the top boss. कि आज इतने आदमी आए, so many people came, so many people went away. No, you must become an active partner. Traditional HR practices generally do reactive handling of situations, which must now change to proactive support. What type of proactive supports are there? You can have active interventions like Ask HR. HR at your doorsteps using various media like WhatsApp, etc. WhatsApp for Business allows you to do this. So some organizations, so you can solve a lot of grievances for the employees just by these interventions, and the employees feel connected. They feel that there is support available for them. Some companies have gone to a step further. They have outsourced the complete counseling to institutions like Tata Institute of Social Sciences on a 24/7 support to their organization. There are very few like this, but they are there for continuous support to their employees. Along with support comes this issue of grievance handling and counseling. For many organizations, this would mean addressing HR grievances, providing individual support, and delivering a seamless exercise by breaking departmental barriers. This is what they look. An employee with grievances is a demotivated employee. And one demotivated employee in a section is likely to demotivate a lot of others also. He will affect others. He will affect the morale of the group. So you don't want demotivated employees. So it is important that you do grievance handling. Team collaboration tools like WhatsApp for Business or Workflow from Facebook could offer HR the opportunity to support employees in a more personal way in real time. Continual improvement in performance of organization is a must. How do you do that? How does the organization improve on a continuous basis? It improves on a continuous basis when the performance of the individuals is recorded, matched, and accounted for. So, how do we do it? Big data analytics allows superior analysis of work performance. With better data analysis, HR can carry out detailed analysis with focus on defect prevention and improving productivity. This can also support a good operator feedback system. Let me give you an example. I was talking to you about 1,000 employees. Let's say we have 100 employees. 1,000 is too large a number. 100 employees working on a daily basis in your plant. They have been assigned some work. Maybe you can ask the supervisor to do a quick two-line check on them on a daily basis. Good, bad. What was the score? In a month, you have 25 into 100, 2,500 points, which gives you a good representation of the company. And this big data analytics can be extended. In 1 year, it becomes 2,500 into 12, which is 3,000. So 3,000 data points, which extremely clearly tell you who are the people who are doing good job, who are the people who are not doing not so good job, who are the people who made more number of errors. Then you can talk to those people, you can train them, you can retrain them, you can advise them, counsel them. Many things are there in the. So organizations which employ larger numbers and have wide variety of jobs, tracing of individual performance is a problem. Many a times management comes up with detailed matrices which data is to be recorded for each person, but it only fills up papers which generally go waste. That paper would never be used. These registers would be filled up and they would be thrown in the back office, and after 1 year they will go back in Radhi. Same data, if fed into a proper software, can take out meaningful trends and give more appropriate ratings to employees. This would also remove biases. So performance is a important aspect which can get computerized. Continuing with the previous analysis, further database analysis of talent fit jobs is something which can be done. With rigorous analysis of jobs versus people from past performance, it would be possible to better match high performance with activities that drive growth for the organization. See, each job or task which a person is doing requires certain skill set to be displayed. A salesperson will have a skill set, a marketing person will have a skill set, a computer operator will have a skill set, a welder will have a skill set, a teacher will have a skill set. And the organization must always choose the best fit for a new initiative. Suppose you are building a new marketing platform. So you would want your best marketeer to be available. Typically, what happens is you feel that Ramesh is a better person. So you call Ramesh. Instead of that, you keep track of the capabilities of all the people available. Generally, the choosing is highly subjective, as people who are known better or who have familiarity with the management would get selected. It is by maintaining an organization-wise database of past jobs completed and competencies displayed, is you will be able to get a much better fit of persons for a new job. This is more true for larger organizations with large number of people. If you have 100, 200 people in the organization, the management would not know these 200 people by name. You can make a lot of mistakes. So if you keep this data on track, you can find out who are the best people in marketing, who are the best welders, who are the best this, who are the best that, and you can move forward with it. We have seen the areas of change which are expected to come in organization and which may help organizations to manage them to their benefit. These are the changes which are possible: data analytics, performance, grievance handling, AI interviews, flexi working, etc., etc. However, there are some areas which to me look like a concern today, and HR will have to find out ways of managing these challenges. Which digitalization 4 and the new technology, it is changing the face of HR to the 4.0 version. There are some concerns arising which would need express attention of HR leaders, teachers, and practitioners. The first and foremost is data privacy. As more and more data about employees and their activities get stored with the employers, concerns of privacy become important. This trend started with biometric data collection by organizations for marking attendance, your fingerprints, iris, eye scan, etc. captured. As more types of employee data are captured by the organizations, Aadhaar, PAN, mobile number, it would be incumbent upon the organization and the HR function to ensure safety and security of this data. Nowadays, such data is in demand and people will be willing to pay it. So this, your organization person who sells this data can also add the level. So the person who's buying this data knows this person, this mobile number has got this buying capacity. Highly sought after data. Such demographic data is in much demand. So as the organizations go up the path of new technology and digitalization, they will need to have become very careful about this privacy, about data privacy and data security. All these new things which HR would HR would do, or companies would do, or companies would change it would require them to have trained people, which brings us to the next concern. Digitalization being a new technology, the availability of trained human resources would be typically low. It would be difficult for companies to find people. Organizations would be required to train as well as make efforts to retain the competent persons. अगर competent बंदा है छोड़ के जाने को तैयार बैठा रहेगा कि okay, someone is giving me a different offer, let me go and join. So you need to be very careful. HR is required to build a platform wherein they are training employees for continuously and developing new skills and capabilities for the employees. Also, there should be an emphasis on multi-skilling of employees so that they are employable most of the time. If something new is coming in, you have multi-skilled employees, you can move a person from here to there. The motto of HRM in this scenario should be, rather than letting go of employees, we need to ensure and invest in his skill development. If an employee is there with you, please don't throw him out. Retrain him, reskill him. He knows about your organization, he knows about your culture. Do that. This way they become useful to the organization and also to the larger world outside. Next important concern which I have is what Dr. Sachin Mittal had also raised, which is managing work-life balance. With distant working and employees being in different zones and in different locations, this has become important. Work-life balance is related to the habit of person, so he needs to find a suitable time for himself and family. However, HRM must look into proper scheduling of working hours in all cases. They must do data logging or counsel people or whatever it is, as well as do counseling and guidance to the required managers wherever irregularity is reported. This is important. But the bottom line in managing work, see, companies will have to guide, managers will have to do understand, HR will have to do. But there is a saying by Warren Buffett which I want to fit it. He says, don't save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. What is important for you, please keep that with you first. So maybe employers may think of that. Next big concern which I see is dealing with social media. It allows for huge possibility of data leakages from your organization. You are preparing a question paper, someone takes a photo, WhatsApps it, that's it. You are gone. All your efforts go for a 6. You have made a confidential HR has made a confidential document. You give it to a typist for typing. While the typist is typing, someone takes a photo, puts it on Facebook, puts it on WhatsApp. So social media is something which organization will have to see how to deal with it in a proper manner of data privacy, companies' data leakages. Second aspect is wasting working hours while using social media during work hours. This is another area which companies are would be increasingly worried about. HRM will need to educate and work out implementable strategy for these matters. HR will need to guide employees for adhering to appointment letter terms where suitable agreements on identifying secrecy and privacy are done. Maybe in the appointment letter, you have a clause that you will not bring a smartphone. Maybe in the appointment letter, you will have a clause that if we find anything leaked out by you, you will be summarily terminated or what, or some disciplinary action will be taken. So HR along with management will have to suitably identify zones which are vulnerable and where employees have to use discretion. It is very important. You cannot leave everything open. See, earlier you could check the person at the entry gate when he's coming in to the organization that he's coming with empty hands and going with empty hands. But today with a mobile phone, he can wreak havoc. It has to be made incumbent upon employees through repeated trainings and counseling sessions as to what they can transmit and what they cannot. While some companies have strict rules about taking mobile phones to work, others will have to find their own solutions. Disciplinary process to be put in place for defaulting employees. This I feel is a very big concern which HR will have to deal with. So this brings me to the end of my discussion. Anyone has a question, you are free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Yatish sir. Participants, you can unmute yourself and feel free to ask any queries you have. I think Vikas sir has some query. Vikas sir, you can freely ask.
Vikas sir, unmute yourself.
Yes, am I audible?
Absolutely, sir.
Sir, it is not a query. One word which I encountered in your training, gig worker.
Yes.
When we were doing MBA, I also encountered one word that is black leg. These people are used to recruit black leg.
Black legs, okay.
If in any plant people went on a strike, so those people who work on behalf of them, that those
Yes.
are considered as black leg.
Black leg.
Sir, one thing as a HR, we deal with the people, not with the machine. So
Yes.
there is no rocket science to understand the psychology of a man because they come from different background, different strata, different income group, different mindset. What happened? They join the company. If one have some ill feeling about others, they contaminate entire atmosphere of the group or the team. So how we can we should handle these people or make a harmony or symphony and make motivate them towards the ultimate goal of the organization?
See, I speak not as a HR professional, but as a factory manager. See, it is not difficult to find out who are these people in an organization who are trying to uh, vitiate the atmosphere. Within a couple of days of their doing anything, you would come to know. As a first
How
level,
to tackle them?
see, at a first level, we do counseling.
Yes.
At, at the first level, you do counseling by the superior, by the HR. And if the counseling doesn't work, then see, it doesn't.
Elimination is only the option which we have.
See, before elimination, we can take some punitive measures, like we can ask him to explain his behavior.
Hmm.
Maybe you can ask him to uh, suspend him for 2 days, because elimination is something which, as a factory manager, I feel it is something which affects his family also.
Hmm.
Elimination is taking away livelihood. So see, the important thing is the person has to understand that he has done something wrong. And as a management, we have to understand what is the motivation of this person to do something wrong.
Hmm.
Is it by mistake that he has done it? That is one level of it. So you tell him it is a mistake and he must not repeat it. Fair enough. If he repeats this again, then it is a willful negligence.
Insubordination.
It's a willful subordination. So maybe you can take a punitive. But if a person repeats willful insubordination, then I think it needs for a penal action.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Any other participant who would like to share their feedback or have any query regarding the session?
Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, Hetal, ma'am.
Yes. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir, and all the people. Thank you so much, sir, for such a nice session. I'm basically from HR domain, so it was very interesting for me, to understand how the work patterns and everything changes. Sir, my query is something related to due to this, COVID situation.
Yes.
We experienced that. Yes. Due to this COVID situation, we experienced that most of the people are work from home pattern is there for most of the organizations,
Yes.
right? And still they want to continue these cultures, specifically in the IT sectors, right? So
Yes.
when we are thinking about employee engagement or the involvement people are getting when they are at the job premises, that is somewhere missing in these work culture, right? So how to deal with that thing? Because when person is not at all coming to the organization, then how he feels engaged, or engaged to the organizations, or engaged to the work culture, engaged to the colleagues and all those things. So that is basically missing over here. So how to deal with these things if people are still getting option of that work from home culture?
First, good morning to you, Hetal.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Uh, See, this situation is as new to you as it is to me. But
Yes.
I will try to, but I will try to share with you some experience which I have had. I have had. See, I have some colleagues who are working in different industries, and you very rightly said that the companies used to have engagement activities, and there would be some budget to it. Budget to it. Some companies, what they have done is they have organized online events where the employees would put on their best clothes and join together in a Zoom meeting. So
Okay.
that could be one type of engagement which could be possible.
Mhm.
And some companies have sent goodie bags to their employees. See, I'm not saying everyone can send goodie bags, but some companies have done that.
Yeah.
And these, and see, these are very simple bags, like 2 pouches of Bikaneri bhujia or something like that, something similar, something simple. But this is just a way to showing that we have not forgotten you.
Okay.
I think the basic idea of engagement is the organization tells employees that we are not treating you as machines, we are treating you as humans,
Okay.
and we are not forgetting you. So maybe some such ideas can be tried out. Uh, Online events or some dance competition in which everyone is performing, uploading their videos and joining it together. I'm aware of some schools which have conducted online annual function during COVID.
Yes, that's all we are also doing, sir,
Yes.
because I am working as a professor and heading the department at my institute. So
Okay.
we are conducting all the activities on online platform, starting from the orientation to celebration of different occasions that come across and all the things to make students engage to the institute.
Sure. So if you have some budgets available, you can send goodie bags. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Now I request Barkha ma'am to extend vote of thanks to Yatish sir. Over to you, Barkha ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nidhi ma'am. First of all, I would like to say a very good morning to Mathur sir and everyone. Sir, being an HR faculty, I would like to personally thank you for such an informative and enlightening session. The way you provided us insight into the HR mechanism and the digitalization which is required in today's dynamic scenario. Thank you so much. The way you made us aware of dealing with the social media, even if you are trying yourself to make digitalized or technologically updated. So once again, I thank you so much for such a wonderful session, sir. Thank you.
I would like to thank the IBMR faculty and the IPS Academy for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and my experiences with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yatish sir, for sharing everything and accepting our invitation, time and knowledge with us, and for your all the guidance whenever it is required. You have supported us. Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
Any other participant or any other person would like to share anything about the session or would like to ask any question from Yatish sir?
So some of the feedbacks we have in the chat window says the session was very informative. They enjoyed learning and they would be looking forward to more such sessions in future. So thanks a lot, sir, for being a part of this STTP. And we would definitely be looking forward to more associations with you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yatish sir.
Yes.
Sir, one question is there in the chat box from Dr. Padmavati. She is asking, how can we work on skilling unorganized sector?
See, can you explain the question a bit? Can you ask her to come online, explain the question a bit? Because
Yes, ma'am is there, sir. Ma'am has joined us.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Actually, I don't think whether the question is suitable to this platform, but as you were talking about the skill development, a question raised in my mind that we are very much talking or working on the industrial sector, HR activities, and all these things. But what about the people, those who are working in unorganized sectors? Many people are engaged in doing some pharmaceutical workings or any other type of work where they do not have such online sessions or they do not have HR who can take care of all these things. So what can we do for such workforce, sir? That is my question.
See, nowadays, practically anyone who is employed has a smartphone available with them. So what my suggestion would be is that we identify these people, we make small modules for them, which can be transmitted over mobile in the vernacular language. So if it is Madhya Pradesh, we do it in Hindi. If it is Maharashtra, we do it in Marathi. If it is in Orissa, we do it in Oriya. And these small modules can be given on mobile phones. See, this is something which we have also experimented at different times in my life. in recent times, not old times, to give a small, see, nowadays it is very easy to record a video and put it on a mobile platform with a link. So one can try to, for the unorganized sector, you identify the target group and then you tell them that by this is available, you can download it, listen to it at your own reference. And in case a faculty is available, that faculty can be attached to them through mobile for answering their queries. That is one model which can be tried